Thank you, Leo. Thank you, all the officers and directors. And thank you, Steelworkers, for this warm reception and for all the solidarity you have given to me, my family, and my union in our long fight for justice in Mexico. Leo and my good friends and brothers and sisters, I have good news and bad news today. We came to Las Vegas with the best intention to pay for the wall. But unfortunately, last night we lost all our money because we went to the casinos. So we are not going to pay for the wall. I feel so glad to attend this important convention in person, because the last time I participated directly and personally was 5 years ago. And in the last 3 times I have been connected through teleconferences. But in 2005, when it was the last time I attended the International Convention, we signed a strategic alliance between President Leo Jurado and myself, between both unions, Los Mineros, the Mine, Metal, and the Steelworkers Union of Mexico, and the proud and strong United Steelworkers. So I feel very glad about that. But today, it's a special day for me too, because after so many years of political persecution, in which I couldn't see my family, even my grandchildren for more than 5 years. Today, one of my 3 sons is here with his wife, and my three of my grandkids who are present, Alejandro, Valeria, Federico. Thank you. I love you. And along these years, my wife, Oralia, you know her, she had to represent me in many occasions and even to speak in front of you in assemblies, in meetings, in conventions. And she never said no. She has always been beside me on this struggle, and I really appreciate so much the effort of my family that they have done to keep united in this long, tough, and difficult struggle that we have been for the last 10 years, 11 years now. Thank you. Today, my dear brothers and sisters, 1,000 members of our union are on a strike in the state of Durango since February 15 against the Canadian mining company, Primero Mining. The steelworkers are supporting us in that fight. At the same time, 240 steelworkers are on a strike in Idaho at ECLA Mining, which has a mine in Mexico that we represent, and our members are supporting you. That's the power of unity and solidarity, sisters and brothers. Our solidarity works not just because you have great leaders like Leo Jurado, Ken Newman, and all of them who are here present in this convention, but it works fundamentally because our unions share common principles, common values, and a common history. Employers and politicians always try to divide us and pit us against each other. Today, companies like Carrier and Rexnord are closing factories, putting steelworkers out of work, and moving to Mexico where labor is cheap. Why is it cheap? Because Mexican workers like being poor? Because we want to take jobs from Americans or Canadians? Of course not, brothers and sisters. We want the same thing as you want: decent jobs, healthcare, pensions, respect, and dignity. And we want our kids to have the opportunity to do better than we have. Labor is cheap in Mexico because of an authoritarian government, multinational companies, and company-dominated protection unions who work together to deprive workers of their rights and keep their wages down. Los Mineros are fighting that system. We have organized thousands of new members. We have carried out dozens of strikes. And over the last 10 years, we have won the highest wage and benefit increases of all unions in Mexico. In many cases, in most cases, we have duplicated or more the wages and benefits of our members. And we feel very proud of that. That's why the Mexican government and the big companies fear and hate us. That's why they have threatened me with criminal persecution if I go back to Mexico, even though the Supreme Court of Justice have ruled out in my favor. Now, if you remember, 22 years ago, they said that NAFTA was going to fix all those problems, that free trade was going to make all the workers in North America happy. That was a lie, sisters and brothers. I think Leo might say it differently, in a different way. That was bullshit. The truth is that NAFTA was a disaster for workers in Mexico, just as it was for workers in the United States and in Canada. We have to change this corrupt system, sisters and brothers, and we have to change it together. This is why I wrote my new book, Before the Next Revolution. We have copies for sale in the International Solidarity booth in that exhibit. I am very proud and honored that my previous book, Collapse of Dignity, became, in 2014, a New York Times bestseller. Thank you. Thank you. In my new book, I introduce the term revolution, that for some people, for some persons, they make them feel scared. For some others are concerned. But to the most privileged ones of society, it makes them feel very uncomfortable. But the word revolution in my book is not about violence or about blood. It's about ideas, proposals, culture, transformation of an economic policy, and an old model of social and economic development which has created exploitation, has increased inequality and poverty, not only in Mexico, in many other countries. This is why when I listen to my friends and colleagues from Latin America, from other unions in Mexico, from all over the world, in the fight and the struggle we are with them together because we are fighting the same system of corruption that has created this inequality and poverty all over the world. Sisters and brothers, so we have to continue working together and fighting together. We have to fight for laws that respect the rights of workers to organize, to bargain, and to strike. We have to fight against unfair dumping by China, which is hurting our members as well as yours. And we have to fight against the manipulation and corruption of our political by system billionaires. I think Gandhi, at some point, he said, "Be the change you seek in the world." And I think when we speak about revolution, we speak about unity. We have been in many ways revolutionaries, and we have to continue leading the changes, and we have to transform each other and continue in solidarity, in loyalty, working together, because we have to stop this system of exploitation and abuses that corruption allows for the most privileged ones. We have to do it now, right now. We have to, and we cannot stop that system if we become isolated. So if in the US, at the top of the elite, the 1% control 50% of the wealth, in Mexico and in many other of our countries, probably this is worse. Maybe they control 70% or even more. So this is why we have to continue fighting the same battle. We have to stop this system of corruption. We have to change things for the benefit of the future generations, for our children and grandchildren. I began my participation today with a joke about the wall. But when it comes to unity, there are no walls that can divide us. We are all in this together. This is our power, the power of unity. So we have to keep fighting together. I wish you all the best in this convention. I really appreciate so much, deep from my heart, from the bottom of my heart, all your solidarity, the strength and power you have shown all over the world today and everywhere and every time. And really, thank you very much on behalf of my family, on behalf of my colleagues from Mexico who are here, my colleagues, some of the members of the National Board, and Juan Linares, José Ángel, Hernández Puente, Jesús Jiménez, to all of them, to my colleagues from Mexico, from all the unions, and to everybody from Latin America and the world together. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, and I wish you a lot of success in this convention. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, brother.
It seems so almost unreal that we could probably spend an hour telling you what Napoleon went through. But when Napoleon made reference to his colleagues, there's one individual that I'd just like to acknowledge and ask him if he would stand. Juan Linares. Juan? The reason I want him to stand is we saw the opening video about how bad things were for us and our families in the beginning days. Juan Linares came to British Columbia to attend a health and safety conference. When he flew back from British Columbia and landed in Mexico City, he was arrested by the police and he was put in jail. And he spent 2 years, 2 months, and 22 days in jail. We, the labor movement, took it upon ourselves to put forward a campaign, Free Juan, and we made a pilgrimage on a regular basis where people would go to the jail and bring him money, bring him food, because in the Mexican jail you got to supply your own. We'd bring him food, we'd bring him medicine. He liked smoked salmon, so we'd bring him smoked salmon. He'd share with his other colleagues. It was hopefully BC salmon. And in addition to that, during that time that he was in jail, They offered him millions of dollars if he would tell lies about his union and about his union leader. They told him they'd give him millions of dollars and put him up in a different country. And he said to them, money can't buy my friendship, and money can't destroy my loyalty to my union. How many of us have that kind of courage? So I want to recognize